I followed Blip and Blob at a cautious distance, not wanting to get a segment of spaceship hull dropped to my foot if one of them slipped. Their usual level of sibling competitiveness meant that they couldn't just carry the things normally. Oh no. They had to make a show of balancing them on edge and trying to one-up each other. Good thing the metal was rated for much stronger impacts than a little bit of spaceport pavement. While they did that nonsense, with muscles on display in their favourite tight-fitting clothes, I trod behind with the payment tablet and kept an eye out for anyone getting close enough to trip over. This really wasn't a very professional way to carry our delivery items, but whatever. We were almost there. I said, "Is that grey ship with all the bits?" Pointing, even though they weren't looking at me. Honestly, it was pretty obvious, since most of the ships around were smooth, streamlined things, and only the one had spiky plate segments that stuck out, looking like a perfect match of the parts we were bringing. "Got it," Blip said. She smoothly juggled her armful of metal into a more stable position, and walked forward with her spine straight and her frills waving happily. Blob did the same, one step behind her. When we reached our destination, there was no sign that there had been any unseemly antics on the way. We reached the ship and circled around it in search of a door. We found a row of several. Thankfully, someone must have been watching for a camera, since one of those doors promptly opened up, saving us the trouble of figuring out where to knock. A large Huskin stepped out, even bigger and burlier than the Frillian twins, with an armour of grey plating that was a perfect match for the ship. I wondered if the ship was meant to match this individual specifically, or if that was family colouring, and I almost missed the second, smaller Huskin standing awkwardly behind the first. "Good greetings," said the big one. She pronounced the words carefully and sketched a delicate salute in the air with her talons. "I am small mother for this vessel. Have you all speak?" The twins looked at me, uncertain in the face of the less common trade language. Some enough, I said in Allspeak. It had been a while, and I was definitely rusty, but I learned it back in college. "These are spaceship shells for you." The Huskin looked relieved, though impeccably polite. She asked the Frillians to set the pieces down so she could give them a quick once-over for damage. Not that I was quietly sweating about that for any reason. Then she says something in their own rattle-click language to her smaller companion, who disappeared back into the ship. She interrupted my worrying. "These look perfect. There is a carrying device just inside for them, since the adulting should not be exerting any muscles just now." "Oh?" I asked, as I held up the payment tablet. "Was there injury, or—" The small mother took the tablet and typed with more precision than those talons seemed suited for. She sounded amused. "Not at all. Her plates are silent, but not for much longer." Well, that was cryptic. "I see," I lied. Blip was more blunt. "Sorry, not understanding words," she said in stumbling Allspeak. "What means silent plates?" The door opened, and the smaller Huskin walked out, moving stiffly and dragging a small hover sled. Her back plates were indeed not making any noise, instead of rattling in wordless communication. She looked much like the bigger one, grey and armoured, with more creepy mouthparts than any biped honestly needed. Her body language reminded me of a sulky teenager. In the tones of a proud parent, the small mother said, "The adulting is almost an adult. Perhaps she will shed before her kin cousin." The adultling hunched her shoulders, glaring like teenagers anywhere. "Perhaps yes," she said. "Oh, now it made sense," I told her. "Best of luck. May your shedding be quick and seamless." That was a well-wishing from Chapter 12 of my college textbook, and I was delighted to be able to use it for its intended purpose. Blip nodded. "Silent plates, yes. Much luck." Blob gestured to the hull segments. "We lift for you?" The small mother finished with the tablet and handed it back to me, then supervised the lifting and placing of the giant heavy chunks of spaceship onto the sled. The adultling stood back, looking like she didn't want to be there, though the small mother kept up a string of undecipherable communication, as if explaining the procedure to her, clearly training the youth. I just stood back with the tablet, trying not to feel like a noodle-armed weakling compared to everybody else here. It was a pity the main spaceport walkways were far away, and the nearby area was empty. A passing stranger my size or smaller would have been nice. Oh well, I reminded myself, there are plenty back on our ship. When the delivery was settled into place, the small mother waved away any offers to help strap it down. Apparently that part was easy enough to do without assistance. We bid the Huskins goodbye, with me saying more well wishes in my best allspeak, and the twins repeating them. Then we turned back the way we had come, with Blip and Blop already boasting about which of them would be able to unpack the pellet of supplies in the cargo hold faster. I hadn't heard any of the other doors in the Huskin ship open, but it soon became obvious that one had. Since I was walking in the rear again, I didn't immediately see what caused the Fullians to shriek and jump back, nearly crashing into me. "Ah! What is that? Ah! Ah!" I ducked under an elbow, heart beating wildly, and saw an intensely creepy shape standing there, with its head lolling to the side. A small Huskin with zombie-like posture and... oh, the eyes were hollow. "Guys," I said sharply, "exoskeleton." "What?" "Oh, right. Blip and Blop lowered their arms from where they had been ready to hit the thing if it attacked them. The very empty set of biological armour, which I suspected had been recently vacated. So disturbing the way it could stand on its own like that. Motion at the doorway turned out to be the squishiest looking Huskin I'd ever seen, bigger than the other adultling, and a little translucent about the edges when the new layer of armour was still fresh. One hand held a timepiece that was probably calculating how much earlier this new adult had shed before the other. "What's all the screaming?" she asked in allspeak. "Nothing," I said promptly. "Just surprise. Congratulations." The new adult thanked me and gathered up her exoskeleton by sticking her hand in the bag where it had opened like a zipper and carried it around the corner. Two different voices exclaimed in their language, one louder than the other. Then the grumpy teenager stomped back into view, clearly storming off to sulk. "What?" she snapped. "Never seen someone lose before?" Blip and Blop made identical sympathetic noises, stepping aside. I thought quickly, then suggested, "You could win at something else." The Huskin stopped at the door and looked at me, saying nothing. I went on. "Your king cousin started 3 people with the empty shell. You could plan and surprise more." I wasn't sure if that would be enough to matter, but it was worth a shot. The adultling tilted her head in thought. "Startled? Startled how?" In my somewhat shaky grasp of the language, I described the way it had been a briefly terrifying thing to see. I pointed out that this spaceport held people of many species, most of which did not have an outer layer that shed in one piece like that. "Mesmers probably won't be impressed," I said, "but humans and Fullians, probably strong arms, definitely heat seekers." Blip muttered, "Paint would die of heart failure." Blop muttered back, "If Trilly didn't kill her by jumping out of shadows, this wouldn't." Good point. I ignored the side conversation about our crewmates and did my best to convey to the Huskin just how much potential she had for surprising more people than her king cousin had. She listened intently. "Okay, I might just do that. Thanks." She gave a nod of goodbye that was probably supposed to come with a rattle of her backplates. Then she made her stiff-legged way into the ship. Blop let out a breath of relief, while Blip glanced back in the direction that the creepy exoskeleton had gone. "Let's go before she drags that back over here." No objections from me. We hurried off toward our own ship, where there would hopefully not be anything heart attack-inducing. Blip asked me, "How come you didn't scream?" "You were in front of me," I said honestly, "but I have actually seen that before. Still creepy though." "Did you scream that time?" Blop wanted to know. "Yep. I almost threw up too, but that was because I had food poisoning at the time. I narrowly avoided being known as the weird little creature who responds to surprise by spewing whatever I'd eaten recently." I shook my head. That would not have been a great reputation to have. Blip laughed and patted my shoulder with a heavy hand. "You can be a weird little creature for other reasons." I will happily own up to some of those reasons.